Hi there. This is Stephanie Stevenson, also known as Watercolor Artiste from midlifeartist.com. And I'm hoping I'm doing this right. I'm trying to see if I can get the. Oh, I got my live stream on on my phone. Yay! Um, so I think I can watch. Hi, Shitosa. And if you're watching from YouTube, I can only watch from my phone, and I'm only smart enough to do one chat. So I'm keeping an eye on my Rumble chat because that's where uh, people tend to interact with me more than YouTube. Um, so yeah. So if you want to chat too, come on over to the Rumble channel. If not, just stay and enjoy the show. You can laugh at me or laugh with me or both. Anyway, hey Frosty, thanks for joining. Okay, I'm gonna see about setting that down so I don't get too distracted by the chat. It looks like it's the video is behind a little bit, so I gotta account for the I guess delay or latency, or I don't know what the official term is. But in any case, welcome again, Stephanie, known as Watercolor Artiste on Truth Social and X. Those are the two platforms I'm mostly active on. I'm also on Facebook, um, but less so. That's more for family and family connections, and and local connections as well. And so welcome. My website is midlifeartist.com. If you haven't been, I'd encourage you to check it out and keep up with my news and events page because um, I'm going to keep updating that more frequently than I have been. Oh, I see my husband's joined the chat. Hi, Crazy Bear. He's in the other room. He's keeping the animals happy because they tend to be unhappy when they can't access me. But in any case, so there's a couple reasons. One, I wanted, well, three reasons. Three reasons I've done this live stream. One is I wanted to plan a live stream that wasn't impromptu because that's the last couple I've done, and it's because I didn't really know how to set up a live stream that was scheduled. So I decided today was the day I was going to make it or break it. I think I made it. In any case, so there's one reason I have this live stream. Another reason is I want to paint. I haven't painted since the last time you joined me on my impromptu for my painting that's on the easel here. And three, oh, and to share, what's been going on. If you follow me on True Social, then you're already up to speed. If you don't, that's okay. Some of you from Facebook, if you're on, again, I can only see the chat on Rumble. But if you're joining from watching from the link from Facebook or whatever, you know a little bit about what's going on. Uh, I am totally busy, like buried busy in prepping with logistics and uh, all the stuff involved in trying to get ready for a tent event, something I've never done before. And I was telling Ron, my husband, who's known as Crazy Bear for you on True Social, I was telling him the other night that even if, when all else fails, if this event that happens on September 20th, locally, it's in my local town here, happens and I don't sell a thing, I'm still going to call it a success. And the reason I'm going to do that is because everything I'm doing now is laying a foundation for future events. And I want to consider that a success and a victory because what I've done, how much money I've invested, how much time I've invested has been extremely larger than I anticipated. Thankfully, I did it during a month where I had an extra paycheck that I don't count in my budget throughout the year. And pretty much my paycheck was the total investment. So I do have a lot invested in this endeavor, and I do believe that it is a an endeavor worth doing. And if I can get a decent picture of my tent set up and use that in my application for the Artist Sphere event that happens in May next year in Greenville, South Carolina, then that's a plus as well. The If you've been following along on Truth Social, you also know I had the biggest critical issue was my mesh panel walls for my tent, and I got those up last night, and they work so much better. So I sent a feedback email to the guy from the company I bought them from, and he's asked if he could use pictures that I've sent him of his panels. And I'm going to tell him yes. I haven't told him yet, but I also want him to use my full finished pictures when the tent is actually up for an event. And he has to include my name and website. So when he's sharing those, I get those credits. So yeah, exposure is fine. I'll take anywhere I can get it. But anyway, so that was it. So 3 reasons. One, do a live stream ahead of time, not impromptu. Two, get back to painting. And three, just share a little bit about the events. And so to round out the events, I will be participating in what's called the Kahata Street Dance here in town. It's on September 20th in the evening. One of the things I still have yet to get is lighting for my tent, because if it goes until 10 o'clock at night, I need lighting and I don't have any. So I've been shopping and it's hard to figure out what to go with. So I still have to make sure I make a smart decision there. There's other things that I've got to round out. But once I do that, then I'm going to try some local events in the biggest town near us on Saturday mornings, their farmers market, and try to do a couple of more tent up and tent down logistics to get good at setting up and taking down a tent. And making sales would be nice. So that would be the cherry on top. Um, oh, Shatoshi, you're so encouraging, and so are you, Frosty. Everybody in the group is so encouraging. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining in. Anyway, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and switch my views. How am I going to do that? Okay, let's see if everything's working. Aha, ha, it is working. Woohoo! All right. I'm going to go left-handed with my mousing. And I'm going to explain, if you were on my last live stream or watched it, then you saw me do this last time. I haven't touched this canvas since then. I've moved it around, but I haven't touched paint to it since then. And this has all been an acrylic start, acrylic background. It's got an abstract background to it. So you see all these shapes. That's abstraction. There's some patterning here in within her. And I'm using a source that I created of a compilation of videos and software that kind of did a collaging effect for me that I've been using for this. And I'm thinking I'm going to deviate from the source and change her robe from a linen, a beige linen that's in the reference, and do a different color. Um, so I'm just wondering, I'm going to ask for feedback from my chat friends and ask, given what you see here, okay, in terms of colors. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to start with oils. So once I go oils, I don't go back to acrylics. This has been in acrylic, okay? I'm going to go with oils. Um, I don't want to play around with acrylics anymore. I want to really get into some rich colors. And if you work with oils, you know what I'm talking about. And I want to get this fixed. Her face is still off. I worked on this last time and it's off. Um, so yeah, I just want to get into oils. So I'm going to share what I'm working with in a minute. But my survey for my chat friends is, if I'm changing her robe from a beige linen kind of look, what color, based on this entire composition, do you think I should go with? You can tell I've got a lot of primary colors here. You know, I got the red, I've got the yellow, and I got the blue. And then I've got a lot of earth tones in the foreground here, midground and foreground. She's total foreground. This is midground, and this is background here. So what color do you think would go good with this if I didn't use a beige linen color for her robe? What color should I use, do you think? And I got to wait for the live stream to catch up to what I'm saying. Uh, so while I'm doing that, and I'll keep an eye on the chat, I can do that now. I got the phone going. I'm going to share with you with my camera here what I'll be using. Okay. I have my oils in a bin here, and I've got a couple of different brands. I've got the uh, Blue Ridge paints that are made in the Carolinas. Love these. I got the landscaping set, but you can do all sorts of things with it. Um, so I've got those. I have a Master's Touch brand, which is the brand from Hobby Lobby. And then what do I got? I know I've got a third brand. I thought, yeah, Winsor Newton. Winsor Newton. So I've got three different brands, but I don't have all. The most of one brand that I've got colors for is in the Blue Ridge, and I enjoy those. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down my primary colors and um, get started that way. I, I don't have a plan for this other than to come in with oils. And so I'm very anxious. I'm very nervous about it, but it's really forgiving. I have to tell myself that all the time. So I've got my oil paints, and I'm going to pick those here momentarily. I go with without the chemicals. So I use primarily safflower oil for my brushes throughout the painting process. Um, and so that's what I have. I do have Galkyd, which is a fast drying medium. I got a Winsor Newton fast drying medium. And then I do have a solvent-free fluid medium, well, solvent-free fluid to help with brushes, but it still has a smell. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not. I might. It says it increases the flow of oil colors, which I might go ahead and try it. The other thing I'm working on is I got new brushes. Last time I told you I had just essentially one filbert, and it's a big one. So I went ahead and bought a couple more filberts that were um, smaller. So I did splurge a little bit and get some more, and I got the long-handled ones. And I'm going to break those open tonight. Yeah, if I can. If I can. That's the next question. Um, so yeah, I've got new brushes. I've got my paints. I've got my mediums. Chitosa suggests maybe the purple right here. This is the purple you're talking about, or maybe this is a red. This is really a purple in person. I don't think it really comes across. And then there's the red. I was trying to capture tonal values really with the acrylics. If I really want to make her pop, I'd recommend something very bright like a red, maybe like a Red Riding Hood kind of red. Oh, going bright red. Well, I don't know if I'm going to get these open. All right. Without cutting myself, you know, my husband's probably shrieking in the other room, me picking up scissors because he knows how much of a klutz I am. Sorry, honey, I'm okay. I'm okay. Oh, yeah, that really worked. Okay. But yeah, so I'm excited to use some new filberts. Burgundy. Okay. Burgundy. I am watching myself, I swear. At least I'm not running with them, okay? But I do need to be careful for real. I am a klutz. I didn't used to be. Back when I was younger, I was a dancer. I danced all throughout my adolescence and into my teens. I did ballet, I did tap, I did jazz. I even did break dancing when it came out. That's right. I could do the worm thing. I could do a little bit of the spinning, but I didn't because I have scoliosis, and even then I was protective of my back. So I didn't do some of the wild and crazy breakdancing. But yes, that was back in a day when I was younger and handle it. Now my dancing is doing the Trump dance in the car, listening to the tunes. I have my pinkies. See, I got my pinkies, honey. It's funny to have my husband watching my live stream from the other room. God bless him. All right, so I've got brushes ready to go. All right, enough delay. Let's get some colors on this palette here. Uh, red or burgundy? Well, it looks like maybe what I'll do is I will go with a burgundy base as a medium, and the lightest lights will be a brighter red, and then the darkest darks will be the purple dark. So I've got a little bit of all of it. No breakdancing for Shatosa. Okay, then. All right. Sometimes I need a little extra help opening up tubes of paint because I don't have the grip strength. Aha, there we go. I use the handy dandy thingies. So I'm going to put down some Blue Ridge ultramarine blue. You can't go wrong with primary colors. So we'll put some of that down. Let's see here. Yeah, Crazy Bear saying he did breakdancing once while learning about electricity. Yeah, I saw that in person. That was a little crazy. Okay, I'm gonna do quinoc. I can't say this very well. It's quinacridone magenta. It's a magenta, so it's a red. It's probably more of a cool red than a warm red. So I may have to put a warmer red down. Cadmium red light will do that. Cadmium red light. Okay, there I go. I'm gonna need the thingamabobber again. There we go. This the tubes that make the small caps, those are the worst. So I'm keeping in mind when I'm laying down these paints that each color is either cool or dark. I mean cool or warm, rather. And so cooler colors will recede and warmer colors will come forward. I'm going to put some cobalt teal down. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but printers use cobalt teal, a bright cadmium lemon yellow, and then a bright red. And printers make all the colors from those. And it's amazing what cobalt teal will mix with and mix look like. It's very pretty. Although this one is not as loose, it's a very thick, pasty oil paint. So I'll probably need the mediums for that. And now I need my yellows. Let's see. What do I, oh, with the whites, I got two kinds of whites for oil. I've got titanium white, which is a bright opaque white. And then I've got this Kremnitz white, which actually has more transparency and blends well. So I use both when I want to blend um, and not have as bright a white. This is the way to go. Titanium white is really bringing in the brightest brights. So that's handy to have. Where's my other? Aha. I've got a Hansa yellow and I've got a cadmium lemon yellow. One's more warm than cool, so we're going to put those down. Cadmium lemon right next to my bright red cadmium red light. And then Hansa, I think that's how it's said. Now, I don't use black unless I absolutely have to. I mix my darkest darks with all these colors. So, let's see here. So, how is everyone doing tonight? Is everyone doing okay? It's Wednesday, it's hump day. That means we're downhill to the weekend from here. So, hey, we like that. What else we need here is some colors that might mute these. We have trans red oxide, which is more of a transparent, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, transparent. It's in the name, Steph. And transparent yellow oxide, and then burnt umber deep. These, and I got permanent crimson if I need it. Where's the other one? Burnt sienna. Those help tamp down the brightness of some of the primaries. So if you need to tamp it down a little bit, those will help. So I'll put those down when I'm ready. I'm going to go ahead and put some titanium white down and then cremnitz, and then I am going to get underway. I swear. I, can you tell I'm a little nervous because I'm doing this live? I've put myself on the spot. I'm approaching this not knowing what the heck I'm going to do. I don't even have my reference loaded up in the background here. So I'm going to have to pull that up as well. So titanium white's right here. I'm going to put the cremnitz right on this end. Okay. We'll start off with that and see how we go. So I'm going to get my, put that over here. The other thing I have is I've got paper towels, but I'm also grabbing a really old rag. Otherwise, you'll go through, I got a holy rag here, see? So this is a good one to use to wipe my brushes and clean them as I go. If I use paper towels, I'll go through those like crazy. I got a cup for my medium. I think I'm going to try this Galkid here. Because it'll help make your oil paints go further and it'll help. That's a little much stuff. All right. All right. I got my Galkid. All right. So I'm going to close out I'm going to get my reference photo loaded in the background. You guys want to see it if I can find it? I'm going to see if I can find it on this computer. References. Aha. Okay, let me see if I can load that up. Image. I'll put it down on source. Picture. Doing this in real time, guys. Sorry. Should have done this beforehand. Pictures. I want pictures from artwork. And references. And then once you see what I'm working with, maybe you guys can help me out. Open. Right. There it is. I will take out the webcam. You guys can see my my source picture here. Lock that in place. All right. So there's my source picture. You can see I got the face all wrong. It's a fatter face on the canvas than it is on her. Let's see here. All right. Let's go for the gusto here. I'm just trying to be strategic. If I paint here in oil, it's going to be wet, and then if I go over here, I might. Well, Stephanie, just do it. All right, here we go. My filberts. And then let's see here. Do I need a? I don't know what my other one is. Okay, we'll start with that. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a medium. And I'm going to do warm this up a little bit. I might have to put in some burnt umber maybe, or burnt sienna. I don't want it so bright. I want it to be a medium tone. Putting down a little bit of burnt sienna from my Blue Ridge paints because it's got a little bit of red to it, but it's obviously a more neutral color. I'm tamping down the color of this red a little bit. Let's see what this does. Dun, dun, dun! Stephanie's about to jump in with both feet. Everybody, let's do it. I'm going to do some of the medium. All right, here we go. I'm going to hold my paintbrush like this so it's not like a pencil. And I'm going to go ahead and start in spots here. Oh my gosh, it's red. All right. And I'm not going to be afraid to do paint strokes. Look how bright that is. Holy cow. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring in some more of the burnt sienna. Killing me how bright that is. So is anyone else working on anything tonight or this week that is a work in progress? Wow, I am out of practice, I feel like. I haven't touched paints and a paintbrush in over 3 weeks. You can tell. I guess I'm not going to be afraid because uh, I'm just not going to be afraid. I can always fix whatever. Isn't that right, Frosty? You can always fix it. Ah, I remember seeing that. You posted on about it before. You still working on that one? What's the struggle, Frosty? Oh, good, Shitosa. You're working on your second volume? You don't share as much of your own stuff. You need to do that more often, Shitosa. Or at least that maybe you do and I don't see it. But I see every time you share everyone else's. You're a great sharer. So thank you for all the sharing that you do, by the way. I know that that comes out a little bit more. Yeah, that comes out a little bit more. You can mix on canvas or you can mix on the palette. All right. All right, yeah, I'm putting in a little bit of ultramarine blue. That helps tone it down too. And this is a shadow area. So I'm bringing in some ultramarine blue, mixing it on my palette. I see there's some darks here. So I'm trying to preserve some of that. You look and see the block of shadow. White fur. You're braver than I. There's a reason I don't really do animals. I don't do animals. At least not well. Now I was mixing on the palette, and now I'm going to mix on the canvas to see if I can't get. There we go. There we go. Try to preserve some of these darks. You can't tell that that's really blue. And mixing the ultramarine now on the canvas. We're going all in on a change in color, aren't we? All right, what else do I got? And this is all dark, medium tone. Yeah, I wish I could do music, but I'd be afraid of copyright infringement, strikes, and all that stuff. So I apologize, I don't have music, but I don't want to get in trouble. So if you've got music in your area, go ahead and listen to it and enjoy. Now I'm not using as much blue here because I want to get the, the the darks and the mediums here. Is the fox that you're doing, Frosty, is that for someone or is that just for you for your collection? Or have a good evening, Shatosa. Thanks for joining, hon. I appreciate it. Now, let's see. I gotta do some more in on the front of her. All right, so now I'm going to take this, clean out my brush a little bit. You see how rich that color is compared to acrylic? Nothing beats it really, right, Frosty? I'm just trying to get some. Aw, how big is the painting, Frosty? Oh, I think so once I get that far. I'm still learning, honey. I'm still learning. You watch me watch the YouTube videos, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Let's see here. Let's see. This is this is not the brightest brights, so I'm gonna feel safe in taking some of that white canvas out of there. Sometimes I'm afraid I try to preserve whites of the canvas for brights, and I'm like, there's not the brightest brights aren't here. They're in the front, and I have to come back in and fix those anyway. So yeah, I'm just nervous doing this because it's been a while since I've touched a brush to canvas. I'm using the Kremnitz white, and you notice it's not really pastelling. You know what I mean? It's definitely a different effect than the titanium white would have. I know I'm going to have to come back in and restore some of the brightest brights here, but at the same time, I'm trying to get the red instead of the linen color. I don't want pastel. That's not what I'm after. So I'm trying to use the whites sparingly. But yeah, I'm going all in on this red, aren't I? I got to figure out this headdress a little bit more. 11 by 14, 90. You'll have to. When did you last post an update on that, Frosty? Was it recent? Was it today? Thanks, honey. There we go. It's starting to take shape. It's still a little bright though. It's okay. Oils don't dry fast. So that's my saving grace. I can get this taken care of. Sometimes I forget to change up my brush. I continue to use the same brush, and I might need to use a smaller one, to do some of the more detailed work. And I just keep working with the same brush. I don't know if you've got that same situation, Frosty, where you work using the same brush, or do you change up the sizes? I try to start off with some of the bigger brushes when I start a canvas, so I don't get down into the nitty gritty too soon. Um, but once I start using a brush, I'm constantly using the same size, and I might need to switch to the smaller. Let's see here. Let's see if I can use my smaller one. I'm going to use some of the medium. Let's see if I can cut into this a little bit. Preserve some of my brush strokes. That is a little much. I'm trying not to blend. I'm trying to let some of my brush strokes stick around. Okay. Paint what you see, not what you know. I'm always saying that. So try to get some of these dark. Now there's some darks here, up here, that follow the shape of her head. And I'm using ultramarine blue for this. And you can see it's getting darker on the back side here. The glare from this light is kind of shining, making this shine up a little bit, but I do have to bring in some. Let's see. I don't know. Again, I'm holding it like this, not like a pencil. And again, I'm blending the paints more on the canvas at this point in time. And because oils are more wet, it's easy to do that. You can do it on the palette and you can do it on the canvas. But you got to be careful not to get too muddy. But because I'm working with two primary colors, I'm not concerned about a muddy look right now. what I think I need to do is imagine what the bright of the red would look like in sunlight. This is where imagination comes in. Got to think about that. Let's see here. I gotta stand up. It's hard to see the colors from the glare of my light. Let's see what that orange does. Nope, let me add white. All right, so this might be a cause for titanium white. Well, that brings out, that looks better. Ah, um, I switched over for this area here to titanium white to get some of that brightness that is coming through her garment. I think that helped. I feel better about it already. I gotta do more of that kind of color here on her shoulder and in some of these areas, which is again using the titanium white instead of the Kremnitz, because the Kremnitz blends way too easy and too much. So now here, this is where those bright colors are coming, bright, the sunshiny parts of her robe are coming in. Again, I'm trying to preserve brush strokes along the planes of these areas. I want to work on her face, but I'm trying to block in her robe first. Work on one thing at a time. All right. Let's blend some on the canvas with our titanium white here. So we got the over. Okay, that's blending. It's too much. Okay, now I'm going to do right here. And when the canvas is saturated with oil paint, then you might have to back off a little bit, which case I can. I am going to try doing some solvent-free fluid to help with my paint brushes, because my sapphire oil is getting, I can't get this open. All right, honey, I think you're up. I can't get that open. All right. I'm charging my husband to come get this and open this for me. He's up. And until then, I'm going to switch up my brush because I can't get that open to save my life. And aha, there he is. I can hear him coming now. Help! Push it down and open it. See? I don't know how to. It doesn't want to give it up, does it? Here, take it out and see if you can get it open. Thanks, honey. Ah, I love my husband. He does anything I need because he's such a helper. All right, let's see. While he's working on that, I'm going to pick up a different brush. Um, let's see here. I got I got more darks in here that I haven't rendered. So maybe that's what I need to do. Keep going on that. Get that. So at the shoulder here, between the whites is, don't want to lose that delineation. That bottle is tricky. It's one of those that you're supposed to push down and then twist, and it's like the the twisting action isn't doing it. So I'm not sure why that is, but I'm glad it's not just me and my dexterity or lack thereof. There we go. Get some of this dark in here. Were you able to get it? You are awesome. Everyone give a hand to my husband. He is awesome. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see here. All right, I need to get another cup. Aha, I got one. I keep I don't know if you've got these Talenti gelatos, but their containers come in real handy. And unfortunately, I got way too many of those. I don't know. Yeah, I'm afraid to put this top on, so I'm gonna leave it slightly loose. But yeah, these Talenti gelato cup containers come in real handy. So if you've never tried those, one, they are awesome. Two, your hips will get wider. So if you don't want wide hips or fat bellies, then you might want to avoid them. But if you don't, keep the containers because let me tell you, they really do come in handy. So I actually use them to put my used safflower oil with all the residual pigments of my oil paints. And I will let those sit in those containers so that the residual, will rest at the bottom, and then you can um, pour out the clean oil that's been sifted through um, out into your container that you use. All right, so I'm getting, I don't know if you can see that very well. Let's see if I can turn this. Ah, see, without the glare. What do you think? I definitely got the darks in, except for that one spot. But yeah, it's coming along. To think that, I should start painting and just make a masterpiece with each stroke. That's so stupid. Hey, Wonky. How you doing? Thanks for jumping in and saying hey. Appreciate that. This is way too bright, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just looking like that because everything else around it. I'll come back in with some more medium tones. When all else fails, you can always come back in when the paint's a little tackier or whatever. There are some darker tones here. Following the contours of this. And Wonky, the reference photo you see on there, she's got a beige linen type robe, and I wanted to go with a different color. So we imagined a red burgundy kind of robe, and that's what I'm working on here. Oh man, I have to say, like I said, I can't. I got the glare on my palette here. I'm gonna have to stand up to do this. Again, I'm holding my paintbrush like this rather than uh, a pencil or anything like that. Okay, this is not going to be ultramarine blue. This is more of a dark red in here. Goes a little lighter. Just trying to see if this will, yeah. And we got this red in contrast to the background blue. In here is obviously, you can see in the reference shot, it's like a village. And then we got fires. I do want to start doing her face. I think I'll start to feel better about that. What do you think? Should I start working on her face? Mix this in. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not right. All right. I am going to come back in. I grabbed titanium white. That was the wrong one for that spot. I want cremnitz more than anything. All right. I think I'm gonna. You like the red? Yeah, I do. Like, I love red. Red's one of my favorite colors. I like all the primary colors. I think the color I like least nowadays is orange. I'm not an orangey person. I don't really care for orange. Never have really. But I think when it's combined with, or in a composition, that that cobalt teal is really a dry paint right there. I'm doing what's called scumbling or scrumbling, where you take the side of your brush and you scrape the canvas. You get like a, not a smooth finish, but a textured finish. Boy, that blue really offsets it, doesn't it? It doesn't look the same on the camera as it does in person. But yeah. But yeah, it's called scumbling or scrumbling. All right. If I'm going to work on the face, I need a bigger shot of the reference photo. So I am going to see if I can't make it a little bit bigger. Hold on a minute. I'm going to do this. Now we can see her face. You see the colors in her face? The cheek in shadow actually has a bright pinkish red to it. Do you see that? This is more of a blue than a red. Gets a little nerve-wracking when you put such a dark color, but it actually is okay, Steph. It's okay. I have to talk myself down from the wall when this happens. Like, oh my God, that's so dark. Oh my God, it's so dark. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it. But yeah, I talk myself down from the ledge a lot when I'm painting. You just don't know the half of it. Let's see. Down here is dark. This is dark. Oh man. Very nerve-wracking to do this. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. Yeah, you definitely can see that. Like I said, that the cheek that's in shadow has this bright pinkish red to it. And it's like, that's kind of weird, but it works. So it's like, okay. So now, all right, I got too much blue. I need to go back to a desaturated reddish brown here. Got to bring her cheek in more. I don't know if you see that, but her cheek was a little too fat on my canvas. So already her cheek on this side looks better just from that one move. So yeah, I'm trying to place some things based on what I'm seeing here. You know what I mean? Her eyebrows up here. I know it's kind of crazy to come in with the darkest darks. You usually build up, but this helps me place things. You know what I mean? I don't know if this works for you, but this is working for me. I think. I think. Again, I think I might be using too big a brush. Yeah. Yeah, I'm struggling to. The mouth. The mouth is so hard, right? So, like the side of her mouth that's in the brightest part of the sun. You know what I need? I need my. I'll be right back, guys. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do this so I can have a steady hand. What was I doing? I was doing the mouth. Okay. And it's just touches. That's all you have to do, right? Not like these huge brush strokes. And she's got dark. I need more red. And sometimes you have to get brave to do these brush strokes, right? And I'm not brave. I don't know if you guys know that, but I am not a brave person. Not brave at all. I don't know if you guys are, but I am not. Let's see here. Anyway, I'm getting that face in, but you could see blue right on her upper cheek, lower eye, in the on the side of her face that's in shadow, like up here. I actually do have a blue acrylic there as a base. All right, I'm putting in blue. It's okay. Oh, oh no, it's not okay. You hear me talking to myself? No, oh my God, what did I do? It's okay, Stephanie. You can paint over it. I sit here and I worry and I get all excited, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And it's like, it's okay. Nothing is permanent here, right? I mean, just calm down. That's all. Just calm down, Steph. Now I'm going to try to paint that color in her cheek as well. I got some blue still on there. And I need some more. Yeah, it's not coming across as well on the camera as it is in person. I'll just want you to know it looks awfully bright on the camera, but it's actually not that bad. Um, so it just looks like that on the camera. So it's just my camera, I guess. When you hear me exclaim in protest or fear or whatever, then you know it's too bright in person. Yeah, it's coming out real bright over there, but that's okay. It'll all work out. It'll all work out. It'll all work out. That's that's the thing, right? Try not to try not to get all upset at this whole process. I watch other painters and they just go in with all these colors and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so bright." But then by the time they're done, it's like, "Wow," And I'm like, I need to not be afraid. And like I say, the camera really is not doing this justice. I'm not sure why, but this will this will get cleaned up over time. All right. Well, I'm over an hour at this point, so I may go ahead and wrap this up in terms of the live stream. I know people have lives, but I appreciate those that have joined me because it's it's scary to do this kind of stuff when you're not used to doing it. You know, that's not what I want. And that's what you can do. You can always wipe it out. But anyway, I'm gonna come back to screen here, and what I think I'll do is I will try to come close with another um, camera angle here. Let's see. I'm going to take this one and come up close with it. Let's see if this will. Let's see here. Mobile phone, we'll do camcorder and webcam off, and we'll do the cam. Oops. See how this looks. So I know it's looking pretty bright, but the red's coming in, and you can see the face. It looks, here I am. I'm just touching the wet paint. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I am and I'm not. But you can see I got to redefine that edge. You can see the edge kind of makes her cheek look wonky. No offense, wonky. No offense. But yeah, so you can just see some of the acrylic still coming through in her face. This is all acrylic over here, acrylic background. And this is where the village is. But if you don't know your Bible stories, this is really, in effect, a representation of somebody who shouldn't be looking back at the destruction. And so the observer is probably yelling at her, don't look back. And she's looking at you like, what? I can look back. But she hasn't yet. Clearly, she hasn't yet because she's not a pillar of salt. But anyway, but yeah, that's at least I got her. Uh, Hold on, I'm going to come back to. Oh, oh, wait, hold on. There we go. And then webcam. Let's see. Oh, okay. And maybe I'll come up this way. Okay. I'm trying to left click. I'm a right-handed person and I'm left clicking on my mouse. That ought to tell you something right there. I'm getting ambidextrous. But I want to thank you for joining me. I know I didn't get very far, it seems, but I did get her garment painted in red. And again, I was using bigger, bigger, bolder strokes. Um, and that's the scary part because you want to go into detail right away, but then you can get lost in the nuance of detail and miss something in the composition or something gets off kilter. So when you're dealing with nailing down the composition, nailing down tonal values and your warms and your cools and all of that, keeping it bigger and broader stroke will help keep it cohesive. And then when you think you've nailed those portions of the composition down, everything's in its proper place, then you can come in with the smaller brushes, um, and smaller brushes, and get into the detail. And it really will shape up. So yeah, I'm okay with it. You could hear me get nervous and scared, and then I'm talking myself down off the ledge every single time. That happens regularly without the cameras. And my husband probably gets the brunt of it. Right, honey? um, so, so yeah, I do like the red, by the way. I do think the red looks really good. Let me put that back on the. I do think, let me see if I can't bring that closer out of the glare of. I do think that red kind of really, it matches her expression because she does have a perturbed expression. Like, what are you saying to me? Why do I not have to look? You know? So I love you, Crazy Bear. But yeah, um, but you can just tell from the oils in her shoulder and stuff, even those I could see the brush strokes. It really has a painterly a feel and effect to it. And so I'm not unhappy with it. It's just in that middle ugly stage where you're still in the blocking in stage. You're not at the nuance detail, define it at the detail. Yeah, I like the red too. I'm glad we chose that. So thank you for joining me on this adventure. Again, it's work in progress Wednesday, and this remains in progress. I wasn't anticipating finish this one, but next time I do another live stream, you may be joining me in on this again, but it might be in a more advanced stage. I'm not sure yet. But it was good to paint. I've been so involved these past 3 weeks getting ready for this tent event, dealing with administrative and logistical things, that I was really missing the artistic creativity side of me. Um, so yeah, this was a good exercise. This was good to do. And maybe I'll do another one next Wednesday. So at least I'm doing it once a week, if not more. And if you want to join me, I'll do a live stream too. And you can help me pick more colors and give me feedback. I'm open to criticism. Just don't be mean. Okay. All right. Well, have a good night, everybody. And I'll see you on social media, particularly in Artist Corner on True Social, or in Artist Corner on X, although I'm not in that one as much. I really favor True Social. I'm also on Facebook. And if you want to connect with me on any of those platforms, you can do so at midlifeartist.com in the Contact Her page. And you can link up with me there. So thanks again for joining. Have a good night. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. I would greatly appreciate it.